I'm a very busy guy. I work from dawn till dusk to support my family, so I don't really have the time to go through thousands and thousands of games to find a good one. The gods were good. Targaryengames grinded till the hours grew small to get me the best 5 games, €6.29, goodbye. Game quality guaranteed. Now let's see if he can provide us with a gay old time. Milky Way Prince, the Vampire Star is a quasi-autobiographical virtual novel about an abusive relationship between two men. Not really what I had in mind with gay old time, but sure, let's see where this relationship strands. So I'm this guy with a giant third eye, on the lookout for hot single twinks in my area. So far, so relatable. When one suddenly gets airdropped in a near vicinity, he is like totally my type, so I ask him out for milk?
Your vero leche.
The small talk is going well until the piano man has a stroke and spooks out our future husbando. How do we make it up to him? We don't. We make out with him in the toilet stalls. Very romantic. Here's where the intimate new sensory gameplay systems come into play. You can choose out of a number of things like parasol, raindrop, trampoline, harp or bar chart. Apparently I chose the right things and we go on another date and we have a pet starfish, good hygiene and an apartment with floor to roof windows as a millennial. The ship went down in an unrelatable bay with good music. But the game went on and turned into some bizarro horror virtual novel. And then there was some artsy fartsy wrap up which made the game clock in under 2.5 hours. So yeah, it wasn't great. I liked the music and the visuals were kinda neat. And the went out for milk and came back was a nice twist on a tired trope. But the game is too short and doesn't flesh out its characters enough to make me care about them.
That's it? Where's the meat?
So when the game tries to deliver a gut punch, it punches air. Due to the lack of meat there is to punch.
Don't care, still don't care, I don't care.
It's maybe something for you if you've experienced something similar and your mind can supplement the many blanks and holes in the story with your own. I bought another copy for a friend to see what she thinks about it. She didn't like it very much, which can mean two things. One, that she's very ungrateful, or two, that the game kinda sucks.
The dialogue sounded really forced, and the whole interaction between the couple was like some weird talk to go to the main part, sex. Also, my starfish died, which was really upsetting, and I couldn't do anything about it because the character was too much into the boyfriend. The music was good, could have had less monologues or at least not that self-absorbed and obsessing about the dude. Though I did like that there was a possibility to see both sides and the story about the Star Prince in the book was nice.
The game gets 2 out of 5 Vampire Stars. Panzer Paladin is what you would call a tribute to the 8-bit era with a modern touch. If tribute meant stealing ideas from other games. Better stolen well than badly conceived. And stealing from the dead is easy because they can't call the cops. The level select is from Mega Man, the pogo attack is from DuckTales, the high-low stance sword fighting is from the best Zelda game, and a modern touch is backdashing from Symphony of the Night. Oh no, wait, it's weapon degradation. After Miyamoto came up with it and put it in Zelda, Animal Crossing and Paper Mario, no game is safe. Story: aliens harass Earth. Damn guys, leave some for the worms, jeez. All of the most famous places are in their hands, like America, Scotland, Switzerland and Tanzania. It's up to Flame, a girl with a whip. I think that game developers still believe in that old wives' tale that ovaries explode when their owners touch a non-bendable weapon. She is not alone thanks to her mech, Grid, whose movement is slow and clunky, which would logically fit a giant robot, but doesn't help in the action department. Well, maybe if you're an uncreative old geezer. That checks out. Plug in a controller, put your thumb on the joystick and tag button tag that thing to whiplash dash your way through the levels like a swordfish through water. It might take some time to get used to, but it feels great to pull off. Panzer Paladin is very much set up like a Mega Man game. Choose a level, make your way through the enemies and over the bottomless pits and beat the stage boss at the end. Weapons can be obtained by finding them in the level, by defeating enemies, and special ones are dropped by bosses, like an ice cream, pestle and a
guitar.
Weapons can be used for a variety of things, like whacking and throwing until they break. They also all have a spell you can cast, but it does break your arm. At certain points you can choose to jam them into stones, making Merlin so happy that you're inspiring more artists that he will make them act like checkpoints. I don't know why the developer thought it was a good idea to start a level list with the hardest and most boring stage, but he did. So skip that one and choose another. Besides the USA, all the other levels are pretty good, especially the train course. After beating all the stages, you get to the Wily Fortress, inverted tower. It starts off pretty good, but then it goes on and on and on and hey Karen and on, and it gets rather unfair. On a scale to North Star to Scorch, it gets a Ronin. Dead in Bermuda is a survival management game with RPG and adventure elements. 8 people survive the crash on an unpopulated island, and it's up to you to make sure that they don't join the others. If God can create a whole universe with planets, paradise and people within 7 days while still having time to crack open a cold one, surely I can build a little beach nirvana for these people within the same time frame. Day 1. The day starts off with a very rough fall from grace. After a few hours, the Tarnish organizes a small get-together to swap names and shadow character traits. Bob and Winters usher in an age of fire. We huddle around the bonfire, but not before losing to a snake, cause let's get that over with now instead of later. Day 2. I changed Winters for Alejandro at the craft station, neatly separating man and woman. In the 1800s, man's greatest achievements were things like the telephone, the battery and most importantly, the bicycle. And the woman's was the dishwasher. Now one of the greatest scientific discoveries is someone losing a game against a machine. Alice has unfortunately the troublemaker trait and likes the song "These Boots Are Made for Walking" a bit too much.
These boots are made for walking, and that's just what they'll do. These boots are gonna walk all over you.
Day 3. Construction on the shrine to the god Hypnos was finished. Bob got more swole. The science people discovered how to say sorry with fruit. And Alejandro got struck by Yuri with some depressive Soviet era wisdom. Day 4. We find an old geezer in a cave. After trying 3 times to comprehend his nonsense, we make out prophecy, find and love. Of course, it's some high as a kite hippie. We take his stuff to get rid of it. My war on drugs even extends to other videos. In the afternoon there was a boys' night and the girls had a sleepover. All of them were pretty tired and one of them had a skull. Well, I hope all of them do, but Alice had one next to her bar. Day 5. I let the crew relax with a skeleton. It was great. They may have been attacked by monsters, but it got them rested well enough to go out and explore.
I think there's someone hanging right there.
Putting Bob right next to his wife was a bad idea. It increased his fatigue by quite a lot. She also started to harass Ileana. Day 6. Bob was brought back from his near fatal fatigue. On an expedition we find a strange blue woman and a raft. An object we have no need for, seeing that we are already in paradise. Day 7. Day 7 was a day of rest and camaraderie, spending from dusk till dawn relaxing around the bonfire. Life is good. I would say that paradise is achieved. My tips for the group would be to give James Cameron a call and tell him about the blue woman and to kill Alice. Dead in Bermuda is a mystery story set on an island, so you know the ending won't be good. Not that I want to invest time in a game that doesn't seem to want to tell its story. The constant need to stop and make sure the people, which I don't really care about, aren't too tired or too depressed to carry on is draining. There aren't really any choices to be made like in other resource management games. Yeah, they kinda missed their mark. And the real Bermuda might also be a tourist trap, but it at least has some fun people and wacky cafes. You flipped houses. You pressure washed driveways. Now get ready for renovating train stations. With Train Station Renovation. A game for Germans, I mean gamers who want to get out of their train simulator comfort zone but not too far. The game starts with setting up a business. I made my company. The game dropped me a Yadouville for a quick and expensive tutorial. I did not realize we were using my money, but what's done is done. I just have to make sure that the next stations are renovated in a way that leaves me with more money instead of less. Next station, Cleanville. It may not be aptly named now, but after I'm done with it, it will be spot on and spotless. We do a little bit of relocating trash and cans, get the old windows out and put new ones in, removing some of the rock and rubble, getting rid of the graffiti, and voila, a new and improved Cleanville. Let me show you the small adjustments I made to the station. Graffiti was a huge problem. You can clean it, but that's not tackling the root of the problem, which is a bored youth. That's why I set up musical chairs for them, and I even installed a speaker so they can pass each other the aux cord to play their favorite tunes. I also restructured the toilet. I started with clear and obvious signage, so no one can miss the can. The toilet itself was updated for a modern era. Big Brother is so 1984. Say hello to Big Brothers who will show and tell the internet if you make a mess in there. The reason the UNOR is so high is due to the sexiness of the station, so everyone's pee stream will be at a high angle. The station is now also smoke free. Next station, Elysiana. The swamp station is swamped with trash and there aren't a lot of visitors. Well, let's change that. First, I turned everything into wood, cause water and wood go together like spoons and Uri Geller. Benches are placed inches apart so the Elysianians don't get winded. At least not like the last time. The Brits colonized the biggest building with an English phone booth. Another wild attraction is Karikoi's bull statue, except a bit smaller. That room leads to the "oh no, I hope none of these electronic devices stacked on top of each other falls into the water" room. A very good room to sweat off some weight. And we finish the tour with the greatest man-made trash dam. So, train station renovation. I kinda liked messing around in it. There's a lot more space to work with than House Flipper. But the problem is that there's not a lot of stuff to fill that space with. There is an abysmal selection of items, wall paints and other stuff. Also, you can't break or build new walls or place new doorways. There's also no way to remove plants or build new pathways. The first problem can be solved with buying a few asset packs, and the second one with a weekend, energy drinks and some elbow grease. On a scale of stuff shuttle van to first class bullet train, it gets a yellow cap. In Tooth and Tail, 4 factions are fighting over who gets to eat the meat and who's gonna be the meat. They decide this by fighting in a distilled real-time strategy game. You control one of the 4 commanders and they can buy windmills. Around those windmills they can buy farms. Those farms provide food. And with that food you can buy warrants that produce units, or you can hire units directly. The units can be rallied, made to attack and retreat, and that's basically it. Oh, you can also burrow after harsh defeat or to get home quicker. As mentioned before, there are 4 factions.
They took my son!
Commie gobbledygook.
The KGB will fit for no one.
Mowing down the lower classes with machine guns.
There's a wild variety of objectives, ranging from basic build farm, get units and curb stomp the rest, to rescue friendly units, defend your turf for some time, and seizing the means of someone else's production to feed the military industrial complex as the commies. Due to the limited amount of actions you have, there aren't really any tactics in this rodent murder simulator, like having a part of your army flank or choosing different formations. It's mostly point your horde at a bad guy and hope that yours is bigger, which can be quite fun if you have a killer headache and don't want to think much but want something with nice visuals and chill music. The online component is not very active, and
the patch note page has moved on.
On a scale of Plague Rat to Remy, it gets a Stuart Little. Now let's see if I got my money's worth. First, let's have a look at the Steam prices for each game. $14.99, $16.79, $14.99, $15.99, $19.99, $6.99 for 82.75 worth of games. Pretty good. But now let's look at the going prices for these games on G2A. 0.54, €1.05,
85 cents.
1.18, 1.55. That totals to €5.17. That's not very hard of the deal for me. As for the games, Panzer Paladin was pretty good, Tooth and Tail was fine, Train Station Renovation was meh, and the others were just not good. So please like, subscribe, comment and share. Maybe that way I can recuperate some of the losses I suffered.